Welcome to Vegas Circle Podcast with your hosts, Paki and Chris. We are people who are passionate about business, success, and culture. And this is our platform to showcase people in our city who are making it happen. Today's guest is just that. I've been following this guy for a while, man. It's just an amazing story from the Vegas tunnels to leading the change with the impact with homeless, becoming a recovery addict, from my understanding. And so let's welcome to the circle, man. We just want to jump right in. He's a true voice of impact. Let's welcome to the circle the VP of Communication Integration at Shining Light Foundation, Mr. Rob Banghart.
Thanks for having
Welcome,
me.
welcome.
Yeah, so, man, you've been on my radar for a while, man. Where are you originally from, man? You from Vegas or?
No, I was born in northern New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
I grew
East
up-
Coast. Okay.
Yeah, I grew up there till I was about 23. Then I came out this way.
What led you to come to Vegas?
I had a long line of alcoholics in my family, and a lot of chaos. But I also had a lot of good support. And for me, it was just, my addiction. That's just the bottom line, right? I had went to prison for a couple of years. I got out. And when I got out, those last couple of years, my early 20s, it was just like a lot of, the cops were pulling me out, all the things, right? And they were really trying to help me out, though. Let's be fair, right? Like, they were doing their job as they were supposed to, but they would always try to kind of talk to me and say, hey, listen, like, what are you doing? Like, we know what you're up to, all that. So, I can see that now in retrospect, right? At the time, I was like, oh, man, why don't these guys leave me alone? You know what I mean? And so I did what we call in recovery a geographical, right? I said, it's got to be the town. It's
Change.
Gotta be,
You got to move to a new location, yeah.
But unfortunately, like, anywhere I go, there I am, right? Like, that's me. I was the problem, right? And so I came here and I was working in restaurants for a while. I worked for some really nice restaurants. Like, it was kind of the part of my journey where it seemed on the outside like maybe things were okay. Like, I was working for Wolfgang Puck. I worked for Wolfgang Puck for a couple of years, and then at the end of that, I get a call, and it's the chef, and he says, hey, Wolfgang wants to talk to you. And that's what I heard, right? The reality was he was coming to town to talk to a lot of people. He had a couple of restaurants in town. But, my ego was really out of control at the time. And when the time came to sit down with him, really what he told me was all about my alcoholism, right? He told me about my behaviors, my actions, right? About how I was like wasted talent. You know what I mean? Like, I was good at what I did, but I was a miserable person. I'd be a little bit late. I didn't want to leave early. I was always angry, like all the things. And, again, somebody trying to help me, right? But in that moment, what I heard was, why are you picking on me? You know what I mean? You don't understand me. You don't value me, right? Like, my perception was so off. And so I did another geographical, and I went to work for Emeril Lagasse. So I worked for Emeril Lagasse.
Two heavy hitters, man.
Yeah, I mean, there was amazing opportunities, right? And same thing happens there. He proceeds to tell me about my alcoholism and my behaviors, and I start bouncing around a little bit. I end up working at the Venetian. I was assistant banquet chef for a couple of years there. The guy that hired me there went down to Mississippi for a little while to open a hotel or take over a hotel after Katrina. So I went down to run one of the restaurants, and at that time it was like, National Guard. I mean, there's tons of construction
Chaos.
workers.
Yeah, there's a lot of chaos going on.
Yeah, and it was pill mills. So it was like lines outside of the doctor's office for everybody to get their pain medication. So I fell off. I ended up getting fired there, came back home, and spent about 2 years on MAT medication. I don't know if you're familiar, but
What is that?
methadone.
Oh,
so it's
shoot.
So it's an opiate, a tool to use to get off opiates, right? And I'm a huge proponent of it. It's very successful when you're trying to do it the right way, but I wasn't. I wasn't even ready to stop yet. So for the next 2 years, all I would do is lay in bed, get up every morning to get my dose, and maybe army crawl through my in-laws' bedroom to steal some jewelry or money, right, to get maybe something to fix in the middle, right?
And you were back in Jersey at this time, right?
Oh, no, I was
Oh,
here.
you were back in, you were in Vegas.
Back in
Okay, Vegas.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I had gotten married. I was married. I'm sorry, I missed that piece. I was married for about 10 years. We had a daughter, and so we came back to live with her parents, and then for the next 2 years, she wasn't even sleeping in the same room as me anymore, and eventually she was a saint, and she kicked me out eventually, and then I got arrested shortly after that, and then when I got out, I had nowhere to go, and I had had some things happen in my life, right, like we all did. I had experiences, my father was an alcoholic. He was abusive. He left very early when I was a kid, but I always had a safe home. My stepfather, who is my dad, who raised me, he earned that title. They were good people. They are good people, right? They gave me a safe home. I had meals, right? Like, so, but for me, I understand, like, I was born an addict or an alcoholic, right? Like, I was born with that mental piece, right? Like, I was always restless and irritable and discontent. I was always uncomfortable. You ask my mom, she says, oh, you're a happy kid. Yeah, externally I was. I knew how to act, right? Like, that's it. But internally, like, I can remember having suicidal thoughts at like 8, 9. You know what I mean? I can remember getting in a whole bunch of trouble. I was very incorrigible, right? I was very like, the first drug of choice for me was acting out, was bad behavior.
To get the attention?
Yeah, the attention, the relief that I got from that, right? I was always seeking relief my entire life. And, so I get arrested, I get out, I've got nowhere to go. I go to a place called the Samaritan House. It's like a last house on the block, sober living. And at the time, the manager was a very, what's the right word? Very straightforward guy. He said, you're going to do this or you're going to get out. And at the time, I needed that, and so I did. I did everything they asked me to do. For me, I have a certain pathway in recovery, and I did everything they asked me to do. But things came back very quickly, very quickly. And I just started to think like I got this. Like I figured it out. Maybe I made too big a deal out of this. You know what I mean? Maybe like this is that big breakthrough, because that was always my thing, right? I was always trying to do something, right? I was always trying to get over this hump. Like if I could just do this, if this would just work out. And really what it was is like I was living off my own ego, right? My own pride. I couldn't just humble myself and accept help, and it was just a lot of chaos. And so fast forward, I stopped doing all the things they told me to do, and it's about 2 years later, and I got asked to speak at a meeting. I have no idea why, and I went home that night, and my head was so loud that I put a needle in my arm. And within a month, I was homeless. I had remarried. We had a daughter. We had, 2 cars, apartment, all the things. And it wasn't enough to keep me sober. I was homeless within a month. And my homelessness was very progressive, a lot like my addiction. At first I was scared. I was very scared. I went out and I didn't know how to hustle out there. I didn't know how to survive, really. That's really what it comes down to, And so at first I was kind of hanging out with other people. And then I went to Catholic Charities for a little bit, and I kind of, at the time, it was before all the services that were down there. It was just Catholic Charities, and it was like, 1,000, 1,500 people out there all the time, and it was like a jungle. It was just crazy. And but I started to make friends. I started to, learn the procedures and all that, and then I lived on Fourmaster for about a year.
What's Fourmaster?
Fourmaster is the street that runs right along Catholic Charities.
Okay.
So it's like the heart of it.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
And, I saw all kinds of things, right? All kinds of things. Stabbing, shoot. I mean, all of it. It was all out there. And eventually I just said, you know what? I'm going to geographical again, right? So I go, there's the homeless triangle is Catholic Charities, Salvation Army, and the Rescue Mission.
That's right. Okay.
So Catholic Charities serves breakfast, Salvation Army serves lunch, and Rescue Mission serves dinner. So there's this constant kind of like flow of people kind of going throughout the day. Mm-hmm. So I started to learn this and, get to know some other people. And I said, you know what, let me go try over there. So I went over by the Rescue Mission, the historical West Side. And I was living under the bridge for a while, in that area. And then eventually I was living in a wonderful establishment called the Moulin Rouge. It's been closed for about 60 years. I was there as they were blowing it up. That's my claim to fame, and I was so lost in my addiction. I'll tell you this story. One day I came to the Moulin Rouge was like 2 stories, all these little 2 stories, and my home was a 2nd floor apartment. Well, on the far left, I came home one day and a buddy of mine was outside and he says, hey, this guy tried to break into your place or whatever. And what it was his apartment was on the bottom right. He had gone upstairs, and there was holes through all the walls, and he was like smoking crack in my apartment, the apartment next to mine, and lit some stuff on fire. So he almost burnt the whole thing down. So my response in that moment was to go over there with my buddy, kick his door in, and light his apartment on fire.
That's how your mindset was at.
That's where the insanity is, right? That like I'm lighting his thing on fire,
but you don't realize it can burn the whole building down.
And it did. So
wait a minute, it did burn it down.
Yeah, it was vacant building, thankfully. But for the next 3 days, I thought I killed somebody. For the next 3 days, I'm on a runner. I'm out there, and I think for sure I killed somebody. So every car, every helicopter, I'm on one.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and then finally that passed, thankfully. And then, a little bit after that, once they were blowing it all up, another buddy that I knew out there just said, hey, come with me. And I went with them, and not too far from the Moulin Rouge was his tunnel, which would become my tunnel. And I remember seeing that tunnel and him introducing it to me and just thinking like, finally, and for a lot of different reasons, right? Like first it was a roof, right? It was off the beaten path. You know, when you're homeless in the streets, like, you know, the cops are moving you, city workers are moving you. It's the randomness of other homeless people, the randomness of people driving by. In that area, there was a lot of gangs and different. I mean, it was just like you
It's
never knew.
chaos.
Yeah, you never knew. And it gave me that illusion, right? And I always use the analogy of Lord of the Flies, right? It was our island, right? Everybody from the outside was kind of suspect. You were very cautious with, and hey, you're not welcome here. But also internally, there was a lot of chaos too, right? We're all in different levels of crisis and all this stuff. So I lived in that tunnel for about 2.5 years, you know, and it's a very physical representation of a mental state, right? At that point, I've been an addict for most of my life. The last 5 years, it's like the worst it's ever been, obviously, and but it was a physical representation of that dark spot that I'm in my mind, right, where I'm just completely lost. And I was living in the same city as you, but not in the same society. So I saw you, but you, like, it was like you were flying 100 feet higher than me. You know what I mean? We weren't in the same place, and you know, my hustle when I was out there was like real basic stuff. You know what I mean? Basic crimes of opportunity, like stealing. You know what I mean? And dumpster diving. And the last day that I was out there, I was out dumpster diving, and there must have been an eviction. And I found a suitcase, and the suitcase had a whole bunch of jewelry and electronics and all these different things. And I thought, oh my God, I hit the mother lode, right? So I throw it on my bike, and I pedal back, and I get to my neighborhood. And at that time, the Cubans ran that area. They had all the dope. So I would always go to them and like give them something if I found something, right? Because they were always watching out for me because I was always up to something stupid, right? Like I was always, and I think I flashed too much because it was daylight. I don't know what happened. But I went back to my tunnel, and along my tunnel was the train tracks that cut through the middle of the city. So I went down the train tracks, and there's just 4 businesses. And the 4th business was a guy that I would go to and like trade stuff for dope, for money, whatever. And because it was so much, he's like, come back in an hour. I don't know if he was setting me up. I have no idea, right? But I said, okay. And I left. Went and got high, came back an hour later. It's dark now. And there's 3 guys waiting for me. They were other homeless guys that I knew. And we kind of had the same hustles. There was like some animosity between us, but whatever, right? Nothing, no big deal. And but like the truest definition of what I am as an addict is that one had a pipe, one had a knife, one had a hatchet. And on the other side of them was what I needed to get my next fix, right? I'm not a brave guy by nature. I'm not like some tough guy. I don't care about any of that stuff. You know, I just want to be happy and healthy and all that stuff. But in that moment, they were what stood between me and getting my next fix. So I had to go, right? Like inside my head, I was like, I knew exactly. I was working through the scenario in my head. My feet were already going, you know, and they hit me in the head with the hatchet a couple times, the pipe, the knife. They stabbed me in the leg. They broke my jaw. They lacerated my liver. They dragged me onto the train tracks, and they left me for dead. And I died on those train tracks. But what I didn't know was in the first business, there was an overnight security guard that I had made friends with over the years passing through. And I had no idea he was there that night, but he was there. And he had called the ambulance, called the police and all that. They came, pulled me off the train tracks, and revived me. So when I wake up, I've got a knife sticking out of my leg. I still think I'm fighting for my life. I got blood all over me. You know, my jaws, all the things. And they're trying to help me. I think I'm fighting for my life.
Trying to fight the same people. Yeah,
100%. And the train's coming. So it's loud. I mean, it's just like sensory overload. And then they hit me with another shot of morphine, and I died again. And then I woke up in the hospital 3 days later on life support. When I woke up 3 days later, I still thought I was fighting for my life. Jeez. And this nurse was like trying to calm me down, right? And I think she hit the morphine button again. And then I felt a hand touch my forehead. And I heard the words, calm down. And I felt the overwhelming presence of what I choose to call my God. It was just so peaceful and so beautiful. And I spent the next, whatever it was, a couple of days in the life support, and then eventually they transitioned me into a hospital for physical rehabilitation. I had been hit so many times in the head that the swelling of my brain, they couldn't wire my jaw shut. So my equilibrium was off. My memory was off. You would ask me a question, I would answer it 3 minutes later. And to me, it was in real time. I would stand up and just fall over, but I couldn't tell I was falling over, if that makes sense. And tons of acid reflux, staples, stitches, a massive headache for the first 3 months of my journey, and this ringing that sounded like the train was like in the center of my brain for the first 3 months.
I got so many questions for you,
Yeah, that's a
man.
crazy story.
Yeah, that's a wild story, man. How long total were you homeless?
About 5 years.
About 5 years.
Yeah.
And so, so you said your friend. I want to back up and talk about the tunnels. 'Cause I know that's a big piece of
Yeah.
your story and what you help with right now. You weren't scared to go to these tunnels and everything, because that's a serious scenario from what I'm understanding. I know you know more than I do, but to go to a tunnel and be in that area, like, what would make you want to do that?
I mean, you got to remember, it wasn't like I woke up one day, was sitting on my couch petting my cats, and I said,
Good
let's
point.
go to the tunnels.
Very
right?
good
Like,
point.
there was a progression there over time, and like I had lost hope. You know, the last year that I was out there, every day I woke up, I was mad that I woke up. I wanted it to end. Like, and it goes back to I didn't value myself. I didn't value myself as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now, you know, I'm 40, I think I was 41, 42, you know what I mean? Like, I thought, like, this is just who I'm going to be for the rest of my life. This is who I was meant to be. Like, so much anger, resentment, guilt, and shame, and, like, I'm addicted. Like, I'm going to go wherever the dope is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how long, like during that process that you're going through this, that it becomes normal, like it starts to feel normal? Because obviously you mentioned when I first went there, you'd have a certain sense of like, this is different. But then at what point do you start to feel comfortable in your home, right? You start to feel comfortable in this area where it becomes more consistent.
It took a little time. You know what I mean? I think, obviously, being on drugs, I was running all over the place, and I was meeting people, and just, you know, I just inserted myself, you know. It's almost funny if it wasn't so tragic out there, but like a lot of the tools that I use out there, I use today.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Networking, that type of
the
stuff.
Constant hustle, the,
Yeah.
you know, meeting people, like just
Moving around, always
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a trauma response or something. I don't know, but like there's a lot of similarities, you know. But it's probably 6 months, honestly, until I
6
felt
months,
like
yeah.
I had a handle on it. Like I was okay. Like I didn't need other people around me. You know what I mean? Like in the beginning, I kind of stayed around people and like learned and watched, like you would with anything else. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah. I guess let's say with the tunnels, right? There's 15 to 2,000 people underneath.
So I think there's the number we're comfortable with is like 12 to 1,500. So in that ballpark.
Oh, wow, no, that every night? Like every night? That's,
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, you got to remember there's 600 miles of tunnels in Las
wow.
Vegas. So like
600 miles.
if
Wow.
I showed you the
Okay.
map, you'd be like, wow, there's a lot. You know what I mean? And they're long, and all of them have their own personality. All of them are, you know, the tunnels on the historical west side don't look the same to me as the tunnels over by South Point. A
Yep.
lot of similarities, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's little differences. And like, even my tunnel was, you know, when I first started, there was, I don't want to say hierarchy, but there was like somebody was kind of in charge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Set some real basic rules, right? And then,
What would those rules be?
like in my tunnel, I couldn't do heroin. Like heroin's my drug of choice.
Mm.
I couldn't do heroin in my tunnel. Everybody there did meth, and that's because that's what he sold, right?
Got it.
But I would have to disappear for a couple of days when I got an itch and go do it and come back, but can't steal from each other. I mean, I don't know. A lot of that stuff wasn't superly enforced. It was really like no outsiders, don't bring trouble here, you know, don't bring attention here.
Mm-hmm.
Where my tunnel was not very visible. Like you couldn't see it from the street. You had to know where it was, and you couldn't get into it. Like it wasn't like a tunnel you could just walk up to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I never saw a single service ever come to my tunnel in 2.5 years that I was there.
That's my next question. So they don't patrol the tunnels, like the tunnels from the outside, from the
No,
police department or anybody.
No.
It's
I mean,
kind
they'll
of
go in if they have special need. You know what I mean?
like something got murdered or something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like that's what's going on right now with the. I don't know if you've seen it down in Cambridge. What they're doing with the paving it over, blocking it off. They cleared it all out because there's a lot of crime. A lot of
Got
crime.
it.
Yeah.
Cambridge.
I'm thinking like Flamingo, Palos Verdes, that area.
Okay. So one of the things that I was going to ask is 5,000 degrees outside.
Yeah.
How can people remain over years dealing with the heat in Vegas, man? Like, how do you go through that for 5 years in a city like Las Vegas when it's so hot? Like,
Yeah. I think whenever anybody ever asks me that question, I ask them to think about something in their life that they never thought they'd be doing, but they're doing today. It doesn't have to be bad. It could be good.
that's- I like how you flip that.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because that's just human nature. You know what I mean?
You just do it. You got to get through it. Yeah.
We're resilient by nature. Like I have to, you know. I mean, I think there was some tricks that like we weren't moving around a lot during the day if we didn't have to. You know, it was more nighttime activity, right? And the tunnel's a little bit cooler, not much, but a little bit cooler and a little bit warmer in the winter. In the tunnel, you're not getting that direct sunlight, which is the killer, right?
Good point. Yeah.
Windy days, cold, windy days, you're not getting that direct cold wind. You know what I mean? So, you start just like anybody, right? Like you start to learn your environment. You start to learn what
Make
you can
those
and can't
adjustments.
do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What about just like the misunderstanding, right? Like there's people every day that are going homeless. You don't know, they might be business guy, gambler, whatever. What do you think is like the biggest misunderstanding for people that are homeless today?
Wow. So I think the issue is that we don't even understand homelessness, first and foremost, right?
Yep.
If you have an issue, you have to get deep and understand it, right? So what does it mean to be homeless, right? What I know homeless to be is your name's not on the lease.
Mm-hmm.
That means if you have an adult child living in your house that's not going to school, they're homeless by definition. Family members, they're homeless by nature, homeless by definition. I apologize, but so the issue is much larger than we give it, than we even understand it, right? Now on top of that, anywhere from 6 to 7 out of 10 Americans live one critical incident away from being homeless.
You said six out of 7?
6 to 7 out of 10. Depending on the fluctuation.
I believe that, yeah.
One critical incident away from being homeless.
I mean, you can definitely see that. It doesn't take a whole lot.
So 70%.
COVID affected how many people in our country by percentage? 20? Maybe 30?
70%.
Shut the entire country down.
I think you say one thing, like, you said something that registered with me, was like, my neighborhood. Like, I'm going to my neighborhood. So when you're saying that, it doesn't feel like you're homeless, right? In that moment, that's how I interpreted it, right? Like when you're in that moment, do you feel like that's the case for a lot of people that live in that environment? Like, I don't feel like that. This is my home. This is my neighborhood.
It becomes your home, and it's again, when you remove hope from things, right? Like, you walk up on somebody's camp underground. They're a mile underground, and they're sleeping on a raggedy mattress, and that's their world.
Mm-hmm.
Their world has just become very small. Right? Like I step into recovery and my world gets very big. You know what I mean? Is that any different than their world? It's the same, right? That's their world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just changing our perception, right? These people live in our city. These people are our brothers and sisters.
They're people. They're people.
100%.
Yeah, and that's
right?
what I love what you're saying, yeah.
One of my best stories is that hits home for me is because it hit home so close to my home, right? We all have that gas station that we go to, right? When we're going to work, whatever it is, right? Get our drinks.
Yep.
Well, I have one, and there's always this guy out there, and I see him all the time, and he's asked me for money. I don't give out money. It's just not my thing. I'm not telling anybody else what to do. It's just not my thing. But I always make sure, hey, you want a drink? Hey, you want to go get some food? I'll take you inside. Never bites, right? The last time I went there, maybe like 4 months ago, he bites, comes inside, and I had one of the most beautiful interactions I've had with a human being. Like, we were laughing, joking. It was like I was in there with my best friend. Giddy. I mean, he was even like talking a little shit to me. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, it was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get him everything he needs, and then I go to the register. I buy him a pack of cigarettes. I take the bag. I hand it to him. He starts to walk towards the door, and I turn around to finish up what I was doing, and he starts yelling, and he runs out of the door. And the guy behind the register starts like giggling. He's like, "Why'd you do that?" And I was like, I don't want to live in a society where that man has probably not had a conscious interaction with a human being just that cared enough about him to make contact and make him feel seen and heard, that he is so uncomfortable with it. Like, the narrative and our responsibility is to go the other way, to make it so that they're not so separate from us, to make them feel a part of, regardless of where they're at. You know what I mean? Homelessness is in our city. It's in every city, but it's in our city. How do we address those issues? Not by separating, not by treating them differently, by treating them the same.
Do we have I didn't look up the number. Do we have the largest in Vegas?
No.
It's got to be really high, right?
It's
in
high.
Vegas?
It's high.
Nationally, it has to be probably like a New York or San Francisco.
Just because of a bigger market.
Bigger market, a lot more cost of living is way higher.
Yeah.
LA.
Yeah.
Good
I
point.
bet you by percentage, you know what I mean? I'm sure.
It's probably up there. Yeah.
Like, I was reading about Finland. You heard about Finland? It's like, they're like near like almost zero what they've been able to do. Do you think that's something that we can do in Vegas? I mean, or just, let's just say Vegas, maybe not United States, but just Vegas in general. You think that's something we could do? Because I know there's a lot of politics. There's a lot. There's a lot of layers to this that we can go. But I'm just curious what your perspective is, because everybody speaks of philosophy in that, but you've lived it and you deal with this and really help people do it. But I guess what I'm getting at is like, what can we do? You know what I mean? Is there something that we can really do to really make a change, like a Finland? You know?
Yeah, there's, I believe in the work that we do. Obviously, I
Yeah,
think
of
we're
course.
making a big difference.
Of course,
I think that there's some things going on around.
And I
the
know it's
world
not
that-
cut and dry, by the way. And I know
Yeah.
it's, you know what I'm saying. There's a lot of layers to this, but
Yeah, I
Yep.
think that it's first and foremost as a community we got to come together, right? Like this is a community issue that
Yep.
we all need to address together.
Yep.
It can't be just this or just that, and I think that's kind of the issue. Like that's really what I like about with Shine. What we did is how we connected the community, right? Like that's why it was so important to us, right? Like connecting all these pieces because when we started creating iPath and working through our program, it was like all the pieces are already here. They're just not working together.
Stay there for a second. So for our listeners that don't, what is Shine a Light Foundation? Like, what exactly do you guys do? Like, how did it come together and the whole nine? Like,
Okay, so Shine a Light was founded by a gentleman named Matt O'Brien. He was an author.
Okay.
He was writing a book about a gentleman named T.J. Weber. This is a long time ago. T.J. Weber had killed his family and escaped the dragnet through the tunnels. So
In Vegas,
in
obviously.
Vegas, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He goes into the tunnels as part of his story, meets our friends, starts to build the relationships with them. He was shining a light on the issue of the fact that there was people there and what's going on.
I follow you now. Yep.
And then fast forward, he's writing a second book in like 2016, 17, and he interviews our director, Paul. And then after 2 weeks, he goes, I'm leaving. I'm going to El Salvador. Do you want this? And at the time, Paul is working with one of our dear friends and mentors, Jeff Iverson. Jeff owns Freedom House.
Jeff sounds very familiar.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Okay.
sure you know.
Yep. Okay.
And then Paul is running Freedom House. So Paul goes to him and says, listen, I want to do this. And I want to create something, but I want to be able to actually do something when they reach out for help. I want to be able to stay with them. I don't want to just pick them up and drop them off somewhere and good luck. I hope it works out. You know what I mean? So he started to formulate what is iPath, which is instant placement with access to treatment and housing. So we deal with substance use disorder, which is the main driver, right?
Of course, yeah.
A lot of other things are secondary and third, but
Substance. Yep.
yeah. So that's the instant placement. They call, we're there within an hour. That's our goal. That's that window of time is fleeting, right? The willingness. So we send them to a triage, detox, where they're clinically and medically assessed. From there, to go to detox 3 to 5 days. While in detox, I'm a visual learner, so the triangle is engaged. 1 point's the participant, 1 point's our case manager, and 1 point is whatever facility they're at, whatever level of care they're at, that representative or case manager. So there's always a triangle working. So if they're in detox and they call us and they say, hey, listen, the food really sucks here, I can go, listen, buddy, that ain't your problem today. You know
You're
what I
trying
mean?
to get clean.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But then vice versa. If there is a problem, we can go call and talk. And intrinsically, we're both working together to help the participant to the next step. And then from there, they can go into either residential treatment or housing with treatment. Treatment is always a part of the programming, right, to deal with the underlying issues. Housing is PHP, IOP, OP, case management, all your vital documents. Residential is the same exact thing, but in a more constrained environment. And then from there into sober living, where we pay for the first 3 months. Our program is 18 months long. So that's 18 months we're going to be with you. 18 months we're going to walk with you.
That's a long time. That's almost 2 years. Yeah, that's a long time. I didn't realize it was that long. Yep.
And if you think about it, though, it's not. It's not.
Well, it seems like I'm.
I get what you're saying, but like,
You know what I
about
mean? Yeah.
To change a life path. is
Change your
like-
life path in 18 months.
Yeah, 18
It's like-
months.
But it's it's called continuity case management. It's the unbroken chain of case management. So instead of you going from point A to point B, point C, point D, point E, point F, you've got all different case managers. Now you've got one fluid constant throughout the whole thing that's been there, walked through the system, knows the options, knows the tools. Now he knows you pretty well. He's built a relationship with you, and he can walk you through this.
And probably a trust, too.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a relatability in anything, right? If I was a very famous podcaster, we would have something to talk about on a level, you know what I mean, that maybe me and you couldn't talk about right now. There's just something, and it's very much the same way with this, right? That lived experience. We've been through that, and now we're here, and we can help you get there.
Yeah.
And how much of that, being involved in this side of the experience, how much does that help you, like being able to navigate, right? Because I feel like that would be an empowering part of that recovery. My own sense, how I'd feel.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I've been doing outreach. That's the other part of it, is the outreach, actually going into the tunnels and the washes.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Yep.
But for me, I healed. You know, and everybody's journey with healing is completely different and equally beautiful. For me, I was called to go back right away. You know what I mean? And I went back right away And I've been
When you
out
say
ever
went
since.
back, meaning go back to the tunnels and help. And,
Yeah,
and
with
show,
people, with friends.
people, yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yep.
But with Shine, you know what I mean? And at the time, it was like 3 or 4 of us. You know what I mean? And I think the first year we got 12 people out. So it's 56 weeks. We got 12 people. You know what I mean?
And that was pretty quick after your kind of release of that experience. Oh wow!
It was like probably from my last day of homelessness was probably about 3.5 months. I went back.
Oh wow! Wow.
I went through residential treatment for 2 months, and then
So how long total have you been not homeless and doing all of this?
August 10th, 2018,
Wow. So that's 7 years.
coming up. Yeah.
That's awesome. So how often are you in the tunnels? Is this every week or every couple of
Every
weeks?
Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Yeah.
Wow. So you actually take folks there
Oh yeah.
that want to be part of and walk through and do the whole 9?
Yeah, we're lucky now. I mean, we've been building at this for a long time because of, we talked about this earlier, like all the connections, right? Like
Yes,
now we
yeah.
have probably, I think last Saturday we had 55 volunteers.
55. That's a lot of folks. Okay.
Yeah, so 5 different teams cover different areas of the city, and it's really beautiful, man. Like we call them paper routes, right? So the route that I always go is, they know me so well. Like they know that I'm sarcastic. They know I like to joke around. So I'll call out, "Hey, shine the light." They're like, "Is that Rob? I'm going to kick his ass." And I come out joking around and we're
okay.
hugging and like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's recently we had our gala, and one of the guys at one of my routes, his name is Dave. He's an artist, right? So he sits in the tunnel and he draws with Sharpies. And he's really good. He drew a long, big piece, and it was like kind of like the history of his tunnel, and he drew us in there as part of the history of that tunnel.
Okay, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah. So it's like they don't see it as they shouldn't. We are them, right? We do care about them. We because we're authentic, right? You want to go to the hospital? I'll take you to the hospital. I'll bring you back. Like, I just want to make sure you're okay. You know what I mean? Like, so many interactions like that. And even the ones that maybe aren't ready to come out, they become like almost advocates for us. They're like, "Hey, go check on that girl over there. Hey, go behind that building. Maybe you didn't see them." Or like, and now we have, the office for the past 2 years, the drop-in center. So they're coming by, they're getting clothes. They come sit in my office and hang out for a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's like, they're going to go back to their tunnel, but like, I'm not treating them any different than.
Listen, you're there when they're ready.
Yeah.
That's the important
If it was
part.
up to me, believe me, I'd go out there and hit them over the head and kidnap them, and everybody gets sober. But that's not realistic,
Yeah,
right?
that's not real. Yeah.
I always say, like, if I gave the 3 of us the same paintbrush, the same canvas, and the same colors, we'd all paint different pictures. That's the point, not the problem. So how do we help you to paint your picture so you'll take ownership of it? You're not going to stay based on my picture. Trust me, you're not. But you know what I mean? You get the point.
Yeah,
right?
I
It's
get
like,
it. No, I
it's
get
got
it.
to be personal. And
Yep.
nobody knows when that moment's going to come. Because outside looking in, I'm like, "Oh my God, this is horrible. You should be ready." But it's something internal. It's not that. Sometimes it can happen like that, but for the most part, there's something that happens inside each one of us, right? That breaks. Like I'm trying to think, like I try to bring it into today, right? It's like I made a commitment a while ago to go to the gym, like last year. I went like 3 times, haven't come back, right?
But then everybody though, that's everybody.
I get it, but like it's the same thing, right? Like something happened and it forced me to go to the gym, and then I can't. But that was like, that's a lot of people's journey with us sometimes. Not a lot, but some. Like they come in, they go back out.
Yeah.
But we still love them. We're still there for them. We'll re-engage them when they're ready, right? Like that's that approach that we have that kind of keeps us connected to them.
That's a great point, because you're right, because you do that. I've done that a million times. Sometimes I've done it, I've worked out for years. Other times I've lasted 2 days. So you just never know about
It's
that
that
experience.
repetition.
Yeah.
Because you stay repetition is so much easier than going back. It's harder to go back after you start hurting. Yeah. I was curious because this is a serious situation, right? Like the child trafficking, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys have to deal with a lot of that?
No.
Okay, so you guys don't even touch that.
No,
Okay.
I've been in.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because of what I've understood is that, child trafficking, prostitution, things like that, then people end up becoming homeless.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's
Is one piece of it.
We see
Yep.
some prostitution,
Of course, yeah.
but nothing. I think with my entire time of being homeless, I saw one family, 2 kids. I'm sorry, one family. But the way they moved was very different because they knew if they got seen,
Especially with kids.
cops, it's coming.
Yeah.
Like, it's all going to happen. So
That's what I was getting at too. Yeah.
they're very different move. Like where I was just out and walking around, no big deal. For them, it was like very hidden. I even felt that energy.
Yeah. Because I had heard, what was it, about a homeless youth, right, with the teens?
Oh yeah. They threw out on.
I think
We
it was
did
like
talk
24
about,
hours.
Yes.
Yeah, it was 24 hours. They were mentioning that like they have 24 hours before they're child trafficked. It's like it's like so organized with everything, or they become homeless.
That's why I said the homeless youth is very is very important, because if they're out on the streets for longer than 24 hours, the risk of being child trafficking is like
way up.
Extremely high. Yeah, it's extremely high. So interesting, man. But I'm not interested at all. It's horrible. But
that was another great event that we participated in. Was the homeless youth that was really positive, and they were doing really big things in the city too, similar to what you're doing.
Yep.
I love those kind of like I'm on the advisory board for St. Jude's Ranch for Children, and it's like I call those like upriver things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like a lot of what the work that I do is downriver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting them at 35, 40, mix, but in that wheelhouse, right, where it's really important to get them upriver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes
do
a lot
our
of sense.
best. Doesn't mean that we're going to stop it. Doesn't mean, but at least they know, right? Like at least there's options and opportunities. Like they didn't get a chance. You know what I mean?
Yep. So how long have you been working with Shine Light for 7 years total? You also work with, the other company that you work with. Crossroads.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is Crossroads? Yeah.
Crossroads is the largest indigent detox and treatment center in the state of Nevada. So it's like for your unhoused, your underinsured, your uninsured, your Medicaid, specialty courts, and then everything else. So it's detox, triage, detox, residential treatment, housing with treatment, and then outpatient.
Okay. What's most of the stories that you've seen over the last 7 years of people that you've helped? What's their background? I know it's a lot of layers to it, but I'm just curious.
I think that a lot of times what I've come to understand is this: we want to do that, right? We want to put that in a box, but the reality is it's not in a box.
I'm glad you said it, because you said 70%. I was like,
they are everywhere, every walk of life. I mean, everything. There's no, usually there's trauma, usually there's something, but in a detailed way, no, they're all varied. They're all so varied.
And I'm asking you now on purpose because I want our listeners to understand that it's 70% of the people that it's all 100% off walks of life.
It touches everybody.
Yep.
It touches every single person, every family gets touched by mental health, addiction. There's something going on. It's just, every layer of the community.
Yeah, some of the stigma is too, because like people say like a lot of this is caused by the Vegas temptation, right? We have the gambling, we have the accessibility to alcohol. You gamble, you can drink all at the same time. They put a lot of stigma on that being a leading cause. But to your point, we talked about earlier, like New York has the same problem. LA does. San Francisco, they don't have those same temptations that maybe it's accessible here, but really it's internal in a lot of these situations.
Yeah, I mean, for alcoholism addiction is a disease that centers in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It starts in the mind. It means that I am bodily and mentally different than you when it comes to alcohol. You know what I mean? That's it.
It's a disease. I've never heard people put it that way.
100%. Like, my younger brothers drink. They put it down, they walk away, and that's just not my story, And that's it. Like, Vegas is all those things you said, but on the flip side, the recovery is also as equally powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is like a major hub for recovery.
Oh, that's and it's
massive.
I could see that. Yeah, I never think about it that way.
Turning a corner.
Because they have a lot of treatment centers and a lot of things to help keep you on that path.
Oh, like treatment centers isn't recovery. So like I'm saying, like different fellowships, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The activity, the way they are, it's beautiful, man.
Yep. I heard you say that your perspective is not to give money, and why is that? Why wouldn't you want to give money?
That's just a personal thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And believe me, every time I say that, the next person
because that's, of course, human nature is you want to give money or whatever the scenario is. But
and like I said, I don't say that to tell anybody what to do. It's not my business. But what's the most important thing is the connection. Make them feel seen and heard. However you go about that, that's your business. But like a hello. There's a girl outside that same gas station 2 days ago. I'm bringing my stepdaughter home from school, and we stopped, and I saw her sitting by the dumpster, and I just kind of walked over. I didn't want to get all up in her space, but I said, "Hey, you want a drink?" And she just gave me the finger. It's okay. And I walked inside the store.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I always look at this like the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts, those vests they wear with all the badges, right? Like, if I was to get a badge for every single person that helped me, was nice to me, then, you know what I mean? And that's how it's supposed to be, right? I even do an outreach, right? Like, I don't know how many times we made contact with that person before they finally, I don't know how many of our volunteers spoke to them. I don't know if our volunteers followed up with them during the week. Like, so many things happen. Other organizations, right? Like that wraparound effect, and who knows, right? And I don't even, try not to even think about it, right? I just try to think about what's in front of me. What can I do? What can I do? Because I think a lot of issues we get overwhelmed, right? We think, oh, we can't do nothing about it. But
Because it's so big. Like, I
yeah.
feel like it's just so big. Yeah.
But that scholarship that I got to that treatment center was $8,000. I don't know how many $20 donations, $50 donations. I have no idea. What if one person had said, I can't do and make a difference? I wouldn't be here right now. Maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think about stuff like that. Maybe that's a little extreme, but that's the point, right? It's like everything matters. This is our city. Like, I didn't like living in Vegas for most of the time that I lived here. And then as soon as I got sober and started giving back, it was like I went from renting to owning. Like, because I took ownership of my city, right? I took actions to make things better in my city. That's the game changer.
Yeah. When it comes to, like, I know I keep bouncing around everywhere and going back to the same questions, but with the tunnel, right? You mentioned, I think it was like last week, it was like 55 people, volunteers.
Yeah.
What does that look like for somebody that, say they wanted to participate in Shine a Light and they wanted to be there on a Saturday? What does that actually look like?
Well,
I know it's dangerous, right? Obviously, too.
No.
Isn't that not dangerous to it? Okay.
Come on, you're a big guy. No, I've been doing it for 7 years and never been touched. You know what I mean? Like, I think the worst thing that's ever happened, I've been told to fuck off a couple times. But that happens on the streets. We're good. You know what I mean? Like, no big deal.
Like that happened to me today. No, I'm just
I mean, you're dealing with people in crisis, right? Like, let's be fair. And they'll just say, hey, not today or whatever. But we're a community project. We welcome all volunteers. We do our bag building on Wednesdays at 4:15. It's at our office, 2330 Highland Drive. And then every Saturday we meet 7:45 for outreach. And then every Sunday we have a specific team that goes out. I think it's like 7:30. Same thing.
Okay. In the morning, I'm assuming this is. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you say bags, so you're giving these out, right? What's in these bags?
Like we don't give out anything that makes it easier to be homeless long term, right?
Got it.
We're not so rigid that if you guys donated some tents, we wouldn't give them out. But I'm not seeking those things out, right? I'm looking for water, granola bars, socks, some wipes, things like that. Basic stuff, flashlight batteries, like dollar store flashlights. It's a key to a conversation. You know what I mean? If I walk up to you and we're a mile underground, your feet are wet, you haven't had a drink in a while, and I go, hey, here you go. I've gone out with a pack of cigarettes, and it's like a transference of something right here. I'm thinking of you. You know what I mean? And it creates a bubble where we can have a conversation, and sometimes you do it, and, I think about something like you'll be with a group of 5 or 6 or 10 people, and maybe they're not vibing with me. Okay. And I just kind of slide away, let the other guys do it, right? Like, you never know. You know what I mean? The best day I ever had out there, statistically, was that same guy, Jeff, right? My mentor, he calls and he says, hey, meet my friends over here. And I was like a year and a half into it. So I was like gung-ho, right? I was like ahead of everybody. I was running and gunning. I'm going to save everybody, right? And I go to meet his friends at this tunnel, and they pull up. They got like Gucci belts and Beamer, all the things, right? And I was like, oh, my God. But that's how blocked I am, right, at that moment. That's my truth, right? We walk into this tunnel. I sit down, start talking to the first person, and then for the next hour, my name was called. We got 10 people out that day. 10 people out of one tunnel. It just doesn't matter, right? Like, they're human beings. They may see something in you that reminds them of a friend, the way you talk, the voice. I don't know, your energy.
Something connects. Yeah.
Something. They, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And boom. And that day was a great lesson, right? But that's like the same thing I try to tell people, like almost like telling on myself to help people understand that, like, you can make a difference and you can connect with people.
So what's next for you as far as like speaking and stuff too, right? That's the next piece you want to get into, man, because people got to continue to keep. I can talk to you for hours, man, just listening to how calm you are and being able to connect with people. But when you're doing the public speaking, is that something that you really want to take advantage of?
Yeah, I think that's the next step for me. I do a lot of it, obviously locally, but like I definitely try to manifest like that next step. You know what I mean? Like, for me, I just know that, like, God's got big plans, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what they are. It's not my job to figure it out, but I just got to keep my feet moving. And I started that website, and I'm just showing up and doing everything I can. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. It's gonna connect. It's gonna connect for sure, man. Just for business or just life advice in general, man. I mean, I think this is like you said before, this is the craziest thing we deal with, man. But what would you say to our listeners, that people that might have hit rock bottom or are listening to this, or maybe in a dark place or whatever the scenario is? what would be something that you could share, maybe from your perspective, or that could help them, that can get them out of that space if they've got, a dream or goal or something they want to accomplish?
I think for people in a dark place, I would say that recovery is real. You know what I mean? You're never too far gone. You know what I mean? You're not alone, that's for sure. You just got to reach out. That's the bravest thing I ever did in my life was ask for help, and once you get on your feet, it's servant leadership.
Servant leadership.
100%.
And ask for help. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Love that.
I am surrounded by great people. I've been able to help build a really great team, but they're all leaders. If I don't come in tomorrow, nothing changes at work. You know
That's
what I mean?
awesome. Yeah.
And
That's some great people to work with. Yeah.
They have their own individual goals, and I'm trying to help them achieve those. And how can I lift them up? You know what I mean? So I work for them.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna change this for 1 second, man, because we always ask people about food, man, because I'm a big foodie. But
All right.
what's your favorite restaurant in Vegas, man? You've been here for a while. If you had to go to.
So I'm not going to go to the Strip. I know there's some nice places on there, but I'll go. But I'm just saying, for me, I'm a sushi guy.
Oh, okay.
Sushi fever.
Sushi fever. We were just talking about that. We just passed by that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you something real quick. I think
Somebody else mentioned that. I think it's the second one.
Mozzie.
Yeah.
Mozzie VS that we had on. Sushi fever is, I hated sushi. One of the first places I kept going to. That's like one of my favorite spots. It's excellent.
I grew up back home. It was pizzerias, right?
Yeah.
And every pizzeria was a little bit different. And I think, for me, every sushi place is a little different.
Yeah.
That's true.
And they got good service there too, man.
100%.
Yeah, they got great service there.
Sushi fever is like very, that's my spot.
Yeah, it's excellent. That's good stuff. I'm glad you said that. We aligned. That is anything that we forgot to ask you that you want to leave us out on, or?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered a lot of stuff.
How can people reach out to you guys? And I don't know if donations, things like that. What would you like them to do? What's the best direction?
We're on social media, website, shinealightlv.com. We're all the platforms. Come check us out. Follow, like, share, support. Every little bit helps. And we're always looking for granola bars, socks, waters, the things I talked about earlier. And just if you'd like to make a donation, of course, we're always welcome to that too. But
awesome. Yeah.
Come
keep
check it
tabs
out.
on. Yeah, I gotta come check you out, man, for sure.
Go try that.
I gotta come. It's been on my gut for a long time, and I remember Angel and Letitia. I don't know if you know them. I think they've been out a few times to check you guys out in the tunnel. I got to do that. Are you allowed to bring kids to do that, or cannot? 10 and 8. Too young. Okay, what age do you allow?
16.
So grown. Okay, so you have
you got
teenagers.
an adult 15-year-old, okay, but we try to keep it because you're going to see some things.
No, I guess real. Yeah, that's real. Okay. Well, Rob, absolute pleasure, my man.
Thank you.
Keep tabs on you, man. We had to keep having you come back every year, man. Just drop some dimes on us, man. Keep us posted on what's happening, how we can help. So appreciate your time, man. Check us out at thevegasstore.com. So thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. That was good stuff.
Yeah, that was really good.